Girl, if you ever felt like you were too much for this world, this episode is for you. Because today we're breaking free from that box. We're owning our voices, our emotions, and our independence. And by the time this episode is over, you're gonna know without a doubt you were never too much. You were just too big for the small spaces people tried to keep you in. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let's fill this cup. Because sis, it's time to take up space. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never enough? Like you're too much for some people and not enough for others at the same time? I spent years trying to fit into a mold that was never made for me. I was too loud, too emotional, too independent, too much. And if you're anything like me, hearing those words over and over again can make you feel like you're broken, like something about you needs to be fixed to fit in. And you know what? I believed it. I let those words sink into my skin like tattoos, leaving marks of doubt, insecurity, and self-questioning. I dimmed my light. I tried to shrink myself to be more acceptable, more likable, more digestible. I thought that if I just toned it down, if I became what people wanted me to be, maybe I finally feel accepted. But let me tell you what, the more I changed myself, little by little, the more I lost myself. No matter how much I changed, there was always something else I needed to fix. And one day, I remember like yesterday, it was pouring out mid-August, cold as fuck. I'm sitting there waiting for a bus to head over to my friend's house for her get-together. And meanwhile, ladies, my birthday was that past June. We ain't gonna get on that. But anyway, I'm waiting for the bus, and it was late. I literally only had 20 minutes to make it to the train, or the next one not till the next hour. Long story short, I ended up missing the train. And not a soul offered to come get me. Mostly everybody in there had cars. Girl, I was so livid. I instantly started overthinking everything, asking myself 1,000,001 questions till I got to who am I really changing for? And that one stuck to me. And of course she answered because she's my greater thought. She's always there. It's crazy because mid-thought, I thought the obvious answers. Myself, my family, my child. But there was more to my thought and I didn't understand it. Because I had already answered it, but the question kept coming to me. I just kept thinking like 100 things at once. Then I thought like, wait, these people, they wouldn't ask me to push myself to these extremes. They wouldn't want me running myself to the ground like this. So if they're not asking me for it, why am I doing it? I was my own worst enemy, repeating cycles, holding myself to impossible standards without any outside force making me do it. That moment taught me something powerful. Sometimes the weight we carry isn't put on us by others. It's the pressure we place on ourselves while trying to be enough for a world that isn't even asking for it. So I asked you what I asked myself that night. Who are you really changing for? And is it worth losing yourself in the process? Because for years I tried to shrink myself. I tried to fit other people's expectations. I was told I was too loud, so I shut up. I was told I was too emotional, so I bottled up my feelings. I was told I was too independent. And you know, when people told me I was too independent, it threw me off. Because I always knew I was independent, but I never saw it as a flaw. Like it was never something I thought needed fixing. To me, independence was a strength. Handling my own, doing for myself, that was something I took pride in. But when you keep hearing it, you're too independent, you start questioning yourself. Like, what do you mean I'm too independent? I had never heard that before. And once I did, it felt like I couldn't escape it. It came from everywhere, exes, friends, even people who barely knew me. But that independence, it came from being let down, from asking for help and not getting it, from realizing it was easier to just do it myself than to rely on someone who might not show up. It wasn't about pride, it was survival. And what's wild is, when people call me too independent, they only meant financially. Because emotionally, I wasn't independent at all. I was battling my own thoughts, trying to make sense of everything. Like, have you ever been so overwhelmed, so unsure of yourself that your mind starts running a mile a minute? 1,000 questions at once, looping and overlapping until you can't even catch your breath. If you're listening right now, tell me, have you ever felt that? Like you're holding it all together on the outside, but inside is chaos. Because I know I'm not the only one. So I dimmed my light, and I made myself smaller to make others feel comfortable. And let me tell you, it was exhausting. No matter what I changed, it was never enough. There was always something else that someone thought I should fix. Does that sound familiar to you? Have you ever felt like you're stuck in this endless cycle of trying to mold yourself into something you're not just to feel accepted? If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to know you're not alone. I've been there, and it's a lonely, confusing place to be. I remember sitting in a room full of people laughing, engaging, but feeling like a ghost. My mind was racing. Do I even belong here? Am I too quiet? Should I laugh at this? Should I speak up? I've been in circles where staying quiet got me labeled antisocial. But when I spoke up, I was too much. I've been in relationships where my independence was a problem, but the moment I let go and asked for help, I was left waiting. When I made decisions for myself, I was told I was too much, but when I stepped back, I was seen as weak. That story I told y'all earlier when I was standing at the bus stop in the rain, you know what's crazy? I still went. I still showed up, and I'm not even gonna lie, I played it off. Not to be fake, but because I felt like if I spoke up, I'd be seen as too much again. And deep down, I knew anything I would say will come with emotion. And I was emotional, really emotional. But no one saw it. Everyone watched me be the life of the party, soaking up my energy, my jokes, and my presence. Ladies, when I got home, it hit me. They wanted me there for them, to make them comfortable, to help them figure themselves out. And I realized if I could bring this much joy to other people, why am I not doing that for myself? What is it that they see in me that I can't seem to see in myself? Is it because I'm always going the extra mile? Is that really it? But then there's always that little voice in the back of my head holding me back from speaking my truth. I'll let some feelings out, but not all of them. And even when I do speak, it's like, am I even being heard? It was like no matter what I did, I held the shorter end of the stick. I was always the one adjusting. And sis, it's freaking draining. You ever been in a space where you feel like you're fighting a battle you can't win? No matter how much you try to fit in, you just don't? I wasted time and energy, y'all, until I realized I ain't meant to fit in. And guess what? Neither are you. Fast forward, I had just got a girl's call. We was going out, and I was hyped because honestly, I'd been in a house stuck in my own funk for a minute. I was like, yeah, I need to get outside. I need some air, some different energy. So we're on the phone laughing, giggling, hyping each other up while we getting ready, talking about what we wearing, what's the vibe for the night. You know how girls are. We always got to set the mood. Like, is there a theme for the spot? Are we giving grown and sexy, chilling cute? What we on? We get off the phone, and not even 10 minutes later, I get a text. Girl, what time you going to be ready? Don't take too long. And remember, it's not your birthday. So you don't got to do all that. Don't try to outshine the birthday girl. And I'm sitting there like, huh? I didn't even know how to take that. Like, was that shade? Was it a joke? Or was that really how they felt? I ran to myself in the mirror, questioning myself again. And I just blurted out, your body, your personality, too big to fit in a box. And I don't just mean physically. I have gotten tired. I even look tired. I can literally see myself through the mirror under the skin. I was exhausted. Ladies, I was so tired of trying to squeeze into a box that was never big enough. It was very important for my mind to snap. I looked at myself and she instantly understood the assignment. I wasn't ever meant to fit in. I was meant to stand out. Embrace being too much. I moved my lips, but the words never left my mouth. I am loud because my voice is powerful. I am emotional because I feel deeply. I am independent because I know how to survive. Oh, those words poured out like water. I decided that being loud was part of what made me passionate and driven. Being emotional made me deeply empathetic and able to connect with others. And being independent was my superpower. It gave me the strength to navigate life on my own terms. Instead of changing those things, I learned to refine them. I had to learn balance. I had to know when to turn the switch on and when to turn it off. Not because I needed to change, but because I needed to understand my own power. Sometimes people see a light before you even realize you're shining. I wasn't trying to outshine anybody. I was just trying to feel good after feeling off for so long. But the fact that someone thought I needed to dim myself, that spoke volumes. It made me think about how often we shrink ourselves just to make other people comfortable. Like, how many times have I second guessed what I wore, how I laughed, how I spoke? And as far as that night, I still got dressed, I still look good, and I reminded myself that showing up as my full self is never too much. It's just me. Period. Since some people will never be comfortable with your shine, and that's okay. That's their problem, not yours. Your job is to embrace who you are. Learn your strengths, fine-tune them, and move with confidence. If you're too loud, it's because you're passionate. If you're emotional, it's because you care. If you're independent, it's because life taught you how to stand on your own. None of that is a flaw, it's strength. The thing is, when you start seeing your own worth, the people who benefited from your self-doubt are the first to get uncomfortable. Not because you're too much, but because you finally realize you never had to shrink in the first place. So stop questioning yourself. Stop editing your personality like you're trying to fit into someone else's storyline. Walk in a room like you belong there. Speak like your words matter because they do. Laugh as loud as you want. Cry if you need to. Take up space without apologizing for it. And if someone says you're too much, that's fine. Let them think that. You weren't made to fit in everyone's comfort zone. You are not too much. You're exactly enough for the life you're meant to live. And the moment you stop fighting that, that's the moment you become unstoppable. So be that version of you fully, freely, without hesitation. And let me tell you, sis, there is nothing more dangerous, more powerful, and more beautiful than a woman who believes in herself. And I believe in me. So I stopped. I stopped making myself digestible for people who were never meant to have a seat at my table. I stopped questioning if I was a problem when deep down I knew I wasn't. The problem was that I kept surrounding myself with people who weren't capable of valuing me as I was. And the moment I let that go, really let that go, I felt free. I didn't need to be less of anything to be worthy. I didn't need to tone myself down to deserve love and respect. Everything I was made me who I am, and I would never apologize for that again. Here's what I want you to do. Grab a notebook or open your notes app and write down 3 things people have told you you're too much of. And next to each one, write why that thing is actually your strength. Let's normalize being too much and celebrate it together. You know, for a long time, I thought I was the problem. I thought maybe if I was quieter, if I needed less, if I asked for less, if I dimmed my light just a little bit more, then people would finally accept me. But let me say this loud and clear. I am not too much, and neither are you. You are powerful because you take up space. You are strong because you know what you bring to the table. You are valuable because there is no one else like you. So stop apologizing for being who you are. Let's stop shrinking ourselves for people who are never meant to hold our light. Let's stop trying to fit into places that were never meant for us. Because when we finally stop trying to fit in, that's when we realize we were born to stand out. So my challenge to you is to go out into the world and be too much. Be too bold, be too ambitious, be too independent, be too loving, too passionate, and be too powerful. The people who truly matter won't see you as too much. They'll see you as unstoppable. And that's exactly what you are. I believe in you, and now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Now hold on, lady. If this message hit home for you, share this episode with another woman who needs to hear it. Because we're done shrinking. We're done doubting. We are stepping into our power together. Until next time, ladies, keep loving, keep growing, and keep putting yourself first. Love y'all. Bye.